Janet Gonzalez. I am here to do a full painting. I already pre-stretched the canvas, so when it's stretched out on a frame. It was already stretched out on a frame when I bought it, but I steamed the back so that it's nice and tight before I get started. So it doesn't have a sag in the middle, because this one is like 36 inches by 48 inches. So it's 3 foot by 4 foot. I'm trying to create something that'll go in my backyard and hang on the back of the house. I already leveled it on the surface that it's going to sit here and dry on. And I know that I need 2 sticks to prop up this one side to make sure that it's completely level. Because the thing about flow painting is if it's not totally level when you're drying it, it could just be somewhere else when you come back. It might not necessarily still be on the canvas, it could just be over on the side of the canvas. So I already mixed my colors. I use Liquitex Pouring Medium, Acrylic Flow Paint, Artist Loft Acrylic Flow Paint. I use distilled water so my stuff doesn't mold, because I pre-mix it and it sits around here for a while. And I also use a little bit of spot-on Treadmill belt lubricant. So I am going to use the colors, this bright yellow. I know I got a little sun coming in because I have my garage door open. I'm going to use a fluorescent pink, a lime green. This kind of helps create the water in the painting. I have white, just straight up white. And this blue, I love this color of blue. It's a cobalt blue. And then I'll probably throw down like a couple different random colors across the bottom and swipe across it to create like beach glass, so that I'll have beach glass. So across the top is going to be the sunset or sunrise, whatever people like. And then through the middle of it, hopefully I can get the reflection of the sun to come down in the water. And then I'll have some black and white to create some rocks, and we're just going to do this thing and see how it turns out. I have 1 hour before I have to go to work. Unfortunately, this is not my full-time job. And we'll see what happens here. So I have other videos of how I'm outliving stage 4 breast cancer. So just so you guys know, I'm still alive. I haven't made a video in a while because those are all routines that I do. So a routine is a routine. So it's not something that changes that much. Okay, I like this little hair I got sticking straight up here. I don't know about that. It just wants to be there like that. Alright, so we're going to flip the camera down and we're going to get plotting out this painting. Alright? So what I got to do is I have to take this, I'm going to back it up, and hopefully you'll be able to see the whole painting because it's kind of big and my camera's kind of small. And I don't have it set up where I can like, oh, look at it from this angle, look at it from that angle. You're just going to be pointing down and looking at it, okay? So that one over there is another painting that is the same size as this one. That red and black and gray. I just like those colors. I'm pretty sure it's a 3 foot by 4 foot painting. Here we go. So let's get a view on this. I'll back it up and I'll see what you guys can see. Just make sure that you have at least the majority of the painting, because I move it around. Okay, so that's quite a bit that you're not seeing. But I think it's as much as I can get in my little camera lens without going so far away that you can't see it. But when I start making cells and stuff, I'll definitely zoom the camera in so that you can get a better view of the close-up of what goes on when the cells start being created in a flow painting. They're beautiful. So I take my colors and I put them in these little cups to start with. So the sky will be up there with the sunset in it. And I try not to spill on my canvas too much ahead of time because it creates spots that are a bump in your painting. I'm going to need kind of a lot of yellow to create a lot of sky. And then have it come all the way down through all this. With a little bit of paint that I drip on my canvas, I just kind of wipe it. Because as we're working with this, this is going to be starting to dry. And I don't want to have those little bumps. I like a smooth finish. I mix my paints all in quart jars so that I have enough of them. I'm going to give it a little stir, but I don't want to create bubbles in it. So when you stir your paint, try not to don't whip bubbles into it. They're all mixed the same, so I don't have like highs and lows in my painting. This bright green is going to be pretty in the water. The fluorescent pink and the yellow make a really brilliant orange. So these two colors are really pretty in the sky. I always cover up my paints to make sure that they're not drying off to the side, because that will be a skim over the top of the painting, the jar of paint, which you don't want to have. Maybe I should just spread it out. I don't know if the wind's going to blow it off or what. It doesn't really matter. So my blue paint's been sitting here a while, so I need to give it a stir. And this is our water. I like using these little paper Dixie cups because you don't have to, I don't do big cups of paint on a flip because I work on big canvases, so I kind of got to get my paint spread out around the canvas. And just pouring one blob in the middle, I can't really make it stretch that far without ruining all the pretty cells. So much for laying down a napkin. I miss the napkin on every drip. I need white and black. That might be good. And a little bit of purple. White comes in handy for all sorts of techniques stuff. I've seen some chunks go in that cup. So hopefully they don't show up in my painting. And I could use white to do a swipe across the bottom to make the beach, the sand and the beach. White, a little bit of black. I got black in one of these that I could use. You just gotta stir it up a little bit. It's been sitting here, so you gotta get the oil mix back in. If you let your paint sit, you gotta mix your oil back in. but don't shake it and create a bunch of bubbles in there. So here's some black in a jar. If I could open it. Oh yeah. I got a wooden block sitting here that I can tap. But one day I was tapping my jar with the wooden block, and the bottom of the jar just popped out. Like I hit it too hard and it blew out the bottom of the jar. So I have paint on my shoe and my leg. It seemed like it was going to be permanent there for a while. Well, it's still on my shoe. It just eventually came off of my leg. I got a little bit of black out of there. And I like doing this stuff in these canning jars because they're real easy to wash out. Nothing really sticks to them. So for the sky, I might want to use a little bit of red in there to give it a little bit more of a dazzling sunset effect. And this is going to be a little bit of a mess. So I just do have cardboard on my floor on both sides of my table because it's inevitable. It is going to drip off onto the floor. And I have a cloth down, and I have a paint drop cloth down, and on top of all that, I have the cardboard. So I'm trying really hard not to destroy my garage floor. So it's a big canvas, so it's going to take a lot of paint to cover it up. It might be enough red. I don't want to go crazy with the dark red. And the red and the yellow makes another nice orange. So there, that'll be a flip. That can be a flip. More yellow, a little bit of red in there. Yellow and red. Alright, we'll hang on to these and see how much of that covers up the sky. We'll do some flips down here so they can get spreading out. Because these things take a little while to spread out. You can either flip it, but what ends up happening is they end up getting tipped side to side and spreading anyway. So we'll do this one over here. And we'll do this one over here. We'll put our brighter mix in the middle. And we'll do more brightness in the middle. It's all heading towards my cups I have sitting on the table. Uh-oh. So I don't want my sky to get too far down here. So we're going to shove this canvas back a little. We're going to start pouring some water in there. Mix blue, white, and green in here. that white. So we have a little white happening. We had a white spill. Uh-oh. That's all right. We'll just flip this water right up in it. So we want to do a black and white pile of rocks. Ooh, that's pretty. I gotta take the weight off of my canvas. So I'm just setting my little cups off to the side. So here we'll do a pile of rocks right here. Put some darker rocks right up in here. We might trail some rocks in here. Because sometimes the water's coming down, it's coming over these rocks. I like making my rocks out of black and white. It makes them look like rocks. We'll do it right here. Okay, so let's give this a little bounce because it knocks the bubbles out. A little tippy from side to side. Start spreading our paint out. So you got to use all your paint to paint the picture. Ooh, I love the way the water is looking already. If you want to have solid colors in your paint, you got to pour solid colors. When you do a big painting, oh man, I just spilled my blue. I'm spilling paint today. I'm having a paint spilling day. Pour some more glue over here before I spill it. We kind of want this as like it's rolling in. So I go back and forth with it to give it that like rolling edge look. And keep an eye on your whole painting. Don't let like one side of your painting get slipping over an edge and you didn't notice it was happening. Try to keep it all on the canvas. Ooh, there it goes. I try to keep most of my painting on the canvas so that I could use it to paint the canvas. And then we can tip it down to get our sky to come back in. Oh, you can hear all that paint dripping. Just give it a minute to run back down. So we'll recover some of our sky because the sky didn't all run off the canvas. It just got colored, you know, like covered up in other colors. Oh, it's beautiful. So down here is where I will create my beach. Let's see, we'll pour a little bit of this yellow and the mixes, all the different mixes that I have into the same cup. That's all these leftover little drops. That will blend in. When we go tipping back and forth to do this, that's going to spread back and forth so it'll look like our sun is kind of coming down through. And it is kind of a hot day here, so I'm going to hurry up and cover up this edge so that it blends nice. Way up here in the corner, which you probably can't see, but don't put your dirty fingers in it. And then you kind of want to wipe underneath your edges so that if your paint keeps dripping off of the canvas, it'll drag your painting off with it. So take a napkin and wipe underneath. Okay, like once you get it dripping off the edges, wipe underneath occasionally. Then if you want to fill in your little spots, you got the right color on your rag, you can just fill in the edges. Down here, I'll put like different colors that I have just sitting around here in containers. Well, I still have some like green over here. squirt out some black so I have some nice black in the background. This will be a swipe down here because this is going to be the beach. So we want it to look like rocks and sand and beach glass. Fill in your holes. The paint will blend. Maybe do a little bit of a swipe right here with some black. So I'm going to do the swipe as long as my thing is. And this will drag like some rocks out across this gray. Wipe off your swiper. We're just going to have a really pretty beach down here. Use up all my colors I got in these cups. Definitely need to use some blue in there. And some blue and white. Fill in your holes. This will be Playful Beach. It would be Ocean's Edge on Playful Beach. Maybe we can name this one that. Pick out that piece of something something it got in there. Oh my gosh, is that pretty? You can fill in your holes. Like sometimes it goes down to the canvas. I just give those little deeper spots a drop of paint. Not necessarily, I don't worry about what color. It always looks nice no matter what. So you can use all these drops of paint that you have in your cup. Now I have to tip this end and get that going. You gotta spread that out some before you can like swipe over it. Then as you're tipping that yellow, you see the yellow down the middle starting to spread to look more like the sun coming down through the middle of the painting. And you can't tip it too far because at some point, whoa, 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 there it goes. At some point, you're like kind of at the end of the stretch where you can't really spread it anymore. Ooh, this is a wild beach. I'm just wiping the under edge so that it stops dripping. Dripping all over my toes. Alright, so now what I want to do is do a swipe across here because that'll kind of end the rocks and start the beach. This will be the beach area. We'll stretch our beach up a little. Right here, we're going to do white swipe. What you do for a swipe, you got to pour, you can see this, you can pour your white on an edge. Try not to send it over the edge. So I want all this to be my beach. Take whatever you're using to swipe with. This little swipey tool is what I choose. And you just lay it on there. Just let the weight of the tool lay on the paint and then drag it across. And create your beach. Wipe off your drippy edges. Always wipe off the drippy edges. And then you got to give it time for the cells to develop. So you'll see what you have. And then after you see what you got, then you can use your torch on it and create more cells where you want them. So I usually give mine time to grow. So in my meantime, I just fill in all these little holes. There's barely any paint there. There we go. I'll use blue. I'm going to use blue. Do it while your painting is nice and wet because it'll blend, it'll self-level. Maybe these little dots break up your rock scene a little bit. Now if you like painting on top of your painting, this gives you like the great background to create something else on. So you see like the beach. The beach is turning out really pretty. So to make this look more like sand, I gotta drag you guys in a little closer so you can see it better. I'll give you a closer look. So you see how that kind of blended together? And the sky over here looks a little sketchy, right? So that's where your torch comes in handy, because I don't like that sketchy look. What I can do though is pour in. So right here, what I could do is torch that a little bit. I'm done tipping my painting, so it's safe to just like light it up now. I'll make sure you guys can see this right here. So right here, because I don't like the way, you can see that the red ran over the yellow. So that's a great place to make cells. And you don't hold your torch on there, you just go lightly with it. And the oil that's in there will warm up. And it separates. You don't want to dry the surface of your painting, which may be happening a little bit today because I got my garage door open and it is quite breezy out. And then those cells, they're going to keep growing. They won't just stop right there. So let's look over here. So you see how the water ran over my sky right here? Let's see, I'm going to put my hand in there, make sure I can show you guys the right spot. Right over here. That's what I'm trying to show you. Okay, so this spot, this area, watch this. We'll open up some cells in there and show some more of our sky that got covered up because the tipping. The paint is stuck to the canvas, so what you do is you run over top of it. You don't necessarily dump it off the edge. So you see how those pretty cells are growing? So we regain our sky when we torch. I'm hoping someday I don't drop my iPad into the paint. So right in here we could do some. So I don't go too, like, I don't have every square inch of my painting is not covered in cells like that because I like some of it to look like it's flowing back and forth. But where I can see there's a spot where I know that there's one color on top of another color that will create some really pretty cells, I give it a torch. Like right here maybe. But that looks kind of nice like that. I don't know. Not sure if I want to do that or not. So instead we'll go over here to the edge where it is right here, this edge with the red, so we can get some of that red to pop out. We'll get some of our colors, our underneath colors, to come back up. And they take a minute to develop. You know, it's not like this is like, oh, I hit it with the torch and all of a sudden, boom, it's all done already. It takes a little bit of time. You know, when you come back later, your painting has shifted and changed a little bit. It doesn't exactly stay identical for at least a couple hours. You can back up here and see how much of those red cells have grown. Look how much bigger they got just since we looked at the other side of the page. And look how pretty those are now. These orange ones. The sky is getting gorgeous. We'll just give it a little down the center. So the oil in the paint is what I believe is happening, is the oil warms up and that it just spreads the paint out. Comes right and helps the oil rise to the surface. The oil will keep oozing out of your paint for a few days. And then once you start using a torch, don't really tip your painting anymore, because what it does is it stretches out the cells and it rips them, so you don't have a nice crisp edge on your cells anymore. Look at how pretty that's getting down the middle. You see where the pink is coming up in there? So you have your like reflection going down to the beach. Now what we're going to do is we're going to try to stretch over here to the beach and see what you can see. Because my little extension only goes so far. It's going to try and get you down here to the beach end, because I really can't turn this painting around, and see what you can see. I don't know if I want to put yellow in there. I love it though. So far it's really gorgeous. Let's see, you can see, you can't see my beach. Right up in here. This is what I'm going to do next, right here, this area. So in this area, you can see like cells have been forming while we were down there at that end. But now we want to like break this up, because it's supposed to look like sand. So this will give it like the more rocky texture. It'll show like little pebbles. I kind of like just doing like an area at a time, so that I have time, so I can watch it too, because I love watching these cells develop. Oh, it's so pretty. So this is going to be a tester painting for me that I can hang outside on my back, out in the back of my house, because I want to paint one on the wall just to see how they hold up outside. I doubt that I'll leave it out there over the winter, but who knows me. I get tired at the end of summer. You just kind of like phase off or outside, and then things end up out there. So that looks a lot more beachy than when you don't break it up a little bit. To me, this looks more like sand. Oh my gosh, that sky is getting gorgeous back there. We're going to look at this side now. Right in here. As much as this is going to wiggle you guys around, I think that I should bring this camera over to the other side. Look at that. I'm going to joust you around a little bit. You're going to pass over my mess. And you just got to get in here closer and see this. So we're going to do this area right now. So you can see what's happening there with that black. And these holes don't necessarily look horrible, but I don't like to have too many of them. Look at that beautiful beach. You see how nice that's turning out? So that's why you don't want to tip it anymore, because you don't want to lose any of that. And you have time to work with your painting. It's not like you have to hurry up and torch the entire painting all in one instant, because it stays wet for a while. You got time to look around and do a little here or a little there. Look at that. Oh. So I'm probably not going to do a whole lot more of this painting. I'm just going to let it dry, because this is definitely a tester painting that's going to go sit out in the blazing sun in my backyard. It dries and I clear coat it. And I don't want to have 2 weeks of work into it and I go out there and it peels off the next day. So I'm not going to paint extra stuff on top of this painting. But isn't that a beautiful beach? Wouldn't you just want to go there and hang out on the beach? And then give your painting a couple taps to knock the bubbles out of it. So look at all that nice sun coming down through the middle. Yep, I like it. For a little quick flow painting of the sunset on the beach glass ocean's edge. You could do like more rocks in here if you wanted to, but I usually just leave it alone. When it dries, it'll keep like developing like that thing down the middle. Look at how big these cells are getting down the middle. Because the paint is wet enough, it'll keep spreading out. Okay, I gotta back you guys up. I don't know if you could really see it because to me it looks like there's a lot of glare. So I'm going to take this off of here. Hopefully I don't hang up before I have a chance to show you. I'll try to scan over the painting. Gosh, I got paint all over my iPad. I hope I don't drop it on there. Okay, get to look at my garage ceiling. Let me see if I can flip this. There we go. Alright, so now I'll show you the way it looks. Isn't that a really, it's such a pretty beach. You got your rocks in there. It's kind of a big painting, so this is what it looks like when you back off of it. Oh my gosh, I just love this area right here. So pretty. So don't be afraid to like throw some paint on your canvas. You've seen how I did it. It's not, I wasn't too scientific about it, but I do have like the mixture that I use. Look at that. Oh, it's so gorgeous. I gotta take you around. You get to see my table again. That's the only way I'm gonna get you to see the sun. So it is coming down the middle like I wanted it to. Gotta get the glare off of it. You see how these cells have stretched out? Look at that down the middle. That pink and yellow, the blues and greens, oh my gosh. They look so beautiful together. And it's up to the person. I mean, I call it sunset. It actually could look like lava pouring into the ocean, since we do have a volcano going on in Hawaii. It does sort of remind me of that too. I'm not in Hawaii, but it is part of our country. I'm actually by Chicago. There we go, look at that. Maybe that's why I'm so into painting the ocean's edge. I love being by the ocean. Look at that. And the bigger the painting is, the bigger your cells can get. Aren't those gorgeous? Here, let's see them by my hand. So you can see the size of them because my hand is pretty close to the painting without touching it. So that's what I kind of like about the bigger paintings, is you get to have bigger cells. And more things going on. There's just so much going on in this painting. I know there's people out there that say this is not art, but this is, to me, so beautiful. And I do a lot of painting on top of my paintings. That almost looks like a cave. Oh my gosh, it looks like a seashell right there. It's so interesting too. This one girl, she said, when you go to do a painting, set your intention. So set an intention of what you intend your painting to be when it's finished. And then it helps you to have, you know, like an idea in your head, and somehow I feel like seashells show up. Who knows if there's not a bird in there or a turtle swimming. One of my paintings looked like they had a polar bear in it. Look at this thing, it looks like an alien. Looks like that little green monster that comes out of, it's on a show. He's in a tank of water. But this is upside down, but I can't get to both sides of the painting. Look at how pretty that looks right there in the rocks. You know, with the water flowing through the rocks and over the rocks. It's just gorgeous. But I gotta let you go because I gotta get to work. Bye-bye.